Hi, I'm Maureen Tara Nelson of MTN Matchmaking with the very handsome, intelligent, suave, cool, funny Dr. Dave.
Um, I thought it was just me. I thought you were actually using somebody else.
I just love when you do Friday Facebook Live. I love it.
It is one of our favorite things to do.
Yes, it's way too boring when I do it myself. So, um, so now you're wearing a very nice sweater. Um, what are you on, Buffalo?
I am in Buffalo, New York today. It is raining and the temperature is a brisk 39 degrees.
Whoa.
It's
Hmm.
time of the season.
Did you ever think of being a snowbird in Florida?
Um, I've thought about it. I thought about it. I certainly will visit Florida. But I have four children all here. Actually, my daughter's in Rochester, and now I have four grandchildren. So, I did with what I could when I was a medical oncologist and busy and all that kind of thing. So there was times where I missed things. I actually missed the pictures for my daughter's prom. I did get to see her off, but
Typical example of you being too hard on yourself. Instead of talking about a million great things that you've done, for some reason, you found one thing that someone probably said to you, oh, and by the way, you missed photos for that. And that's what you concentrate on.
yeah, no, but I think it's gone too far the other way. Um, I think people should be hard on themselves. I think,
Yes, more people should be
yeah,
hard on yourselves. Absolutely. Well said.
there's so many people in the world who think they've earned. I hearken back to T-ball, where everybody got a trophy and everybody got a hit and this, that, and the other thing, and that's fine. But at some point in time, it's based on merit and hard work. And
Yes.
I think there's a lot of very creative, very wonderful people in the world. And then there's a lot of people who say, I could have been Bill Gates, and
Right.
and the truth of the
I could
matter
have been
is,
an oncologist.
yeah, you could have been me. The truth is, if you could have been me, you would have been me. So stop talking about
Exactly.
it. Anyway,
Yep.
I
So
think
what
I
I'm
think
doing now, I'm trying to see if I did it correctly and if we're on public, which
okay.
hopefully we are,
Because
because
if we're not, I'm screwed. I just gave you all the best I had.
and one time I did it and it was only us that saw us. So let me
All right.
just see if I could even.
Actually, if it was just us seeing us, that wouldn't really break my heart.
Well, we have a couple of racy questions, I think, today.
Okay.
Well, not really racy, but one of the questions that I looked over, and I'm not used to having to see the questions ahead of time, but I have to do that today. So I looked at them naturally, and one of them is really funny. It's someone wrote in asking each of us what's the craziest story I had as a matchmaker and what's the craziest story you had before you retired as a physician. So, you want me to go first?
No, I think you should go first.
Okay.
Then I know how to measure my stories.
Okay. So, craziest story was I was interviewing a man, an older gentleman, and I was new. to owning my business. So this was 20 years ago when I was young and a spring chicken and not as strong as I am now. Now if it happened, it would, I would handle it completely differently. But then it was crazy. So the man, I picked up that he was strange. But sometimes people are just nervous. So, I always have to gauge, could this be nerves or is this person really strange or whatever? So he asked if he could use the restroom. So I said, of course. And I said, you make a right and then a left. Okay. So I'm waiting and I'm like, that's taking a very long time. So I go over and I see a crowd of people and the person that was the manager of the office building at that point. And I thought, oh my goodness. At first I'm thinking, oh, I hope this doesn't interrupt my interviewing with him. Never thinking that he's the cause of it. But a woman was there and he right away came over and said, oh, I'm so sorry. It's a misunderstanding. And she starts screaming at him, telling me that she was in the ladies' room and he was in the ladies' room and peeked over at her in the stall. So that's what the ruckus was. And that's why everyone was there. And he said to me, it's all a misunderstanding. I didn't know which bathroom it was. I got confused. I thought I was in the men's room. And then I thought I heard a female voice. So I only looked over to see why there's a female voice. So, this was 20 years ago. I just remember I took about 30 seconds to play in my mind, could this possibly be true or not? Whereas now I'd be like, get the blank out. Okay. 20 years ago, I'm like, I'm sorry. You got to go. Done. But
he violated the 3-second rule. If he heard a woman in the next stall, the first 3 things he should think of is, did I hear what I just heard? Is there a woman in there? And the most important thing is to look down till you see the feet. If they have high heels on, you need to get the hell out of that bathroom as quickly as possible.
yes. Okay, so now it's your turn. You have to see the craziest story.
I've got, but having practiced for 39 years, I've got a lot of, obviously terrible stories because I'm a retired medical oncologist, people do die in my profession. But I have a lot of great, really faith assuring stories. And the one story I'll tell you, and there's always a bunch I can, as Maureen will tell you, I can talk to dead people.
And this is the craziest though, right? You're on topic as far as the craziest story. Or does that change the dynamic?
Yeah, I'm going to give you this story anyway. It might restore faith.
Okay, we will let you know after.
Okay, it might restore faith in human beings. There was this patient of mine. Her name was Jane. I'm not going to give you her last name. And she was a sweet, kind lady. What? No, you might know her. And she was a sweet, kind lady. And she had colorectal cancer, and it had spread to her liver. And I was treating her, and she went through a number of different regimens, and her insurance, just as an aside, her insurance was terrible, and she was amassing a lot of copay bills and this and that. Wow. And I was still treating her. And, my CEO came to me and said, we have to draw a line somewhere. she's a couple $100,000 owing to us. And I said, well, we'll call the drug companies and we'll get some money back and I'll eat the rest. And in that afternoon, I get a call, and my secretary comes running back all excited. And I'm like, what? She goes, you have to take this call. And I'm like, I'm busy. She goes, no, you have to take this call. And I said, okay. So I take the call, and she said, hold on, and she gets the call, and I pick up the phone. I said, hi, and this gentleman on the other side says, is this Dr. Doherty? And I said, yes. And he said, hi, this is Eric Lindros. And for those of you who don't follow hockey, he is a hockey star for the Philadelphia Flyers. He said, I understand that you're taking
Call
care of
in saying that for some
what?
of the ladies watching.
Yeah, okay. Just in case, I do also state the incredibly obvious. He said to me, I understand you're treating, Jane. And I was like, yes. And he said, I understand that she has a very large bill. And he said, yes. And he says, well, I would like to take care of the bill.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I was very moved by that. And he said, here's my information. Here's my information. Just, da, 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 da. So I hang up, and literally a half an hour later, I get another phone call, and my secretary runs back again. I'm like, this is getting ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, no, you have to take this. I'm like, unless it's the president, don't bother me again. But so I pick up the phone, and it's a gentleman named Raymond Bork, who was also a, legendary hockey player. He played in Boston, and he played for Colorado. And he calls me and he says, I understand you spoke to Eric Lindros this morning. And I said, yes, I did. And he goes, well, I talked to Eric, and I told him that I'm older than he is, so I'll pay the bill. So
wow. I'm getting Botox on Thursday. Do you think that you can give them a call and maybe they might want to?
You misunderstand. I didn't want any of their numbers. They called me. So and then the real funny part, which shocked me, is the next morning I get into the office, and I'm I've got a pile of paperwork, and I'm doing my paperwork, and my secretary comes back, and I'm like, listen, I'm getting a little tired of this. She goes, no, you have to take this phone call. And I said, is my family? And he goes, no, you have to take this phone call. So I pick up, and this lady was on the phone, and I said, hello. And she said, hold on for Mr. Orr. So I went, okay. And then picked up the phone. He said, is this Dr. Doherty? And I was like, yes. And he goes, this is Bobby Orr. I understand that you're taking care of Jane. I was like, yes, I'm taking care of Jane. He said, I understand that she's run up a very substantial bill. And I said, yes. And he said, I've spoken to Ray Bork, and I've spoken to Eric Lindros, and the Bobby Orr Foundation will pick up all of her medical expenses from here all the way through. So the moral of the story is really, no matter how great you think you are, we're all part of a tribe together, and we all take care of each other.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking about medicine. I'm talking about the whole world.
Yeah.
We need to get back to those fundamentals. So
I agree. Yeah.
And I won't tell any more stories today because
that was a good one.
After 39 years, I got a few of them.
Okay. So one person puts an easy question in.
Okay.
Who does MTN matchmaking target? And the reason, normally I would not even answer a question like this, but I think it's important, especially now, because a lot of people, singles, are under the impression that I pay a matchmaker, it should work. Whereas the fact is there's no guarantees in matchmaking. And any legitimate matchmaker should never say, I can guarantee this. And any legitimate one would never guarantee that.
Yeah.
But there is going around now the mindset of, I paid a matchmaker and it didn't work, therefore it's the matchmaker's fault. So I'm speaking for all the matchmakers that are especially certified matchmakers like myself throughout the country, that it doesn't work that way. We can do what we do, which is really about 50%. The other 50% lies on the client. So I think it's important to mention that we do target a certain type of single person because the internet, there's no screening process. So anyone and everyone can go on internet dating sites and should. Okay. Everyone should at least try it for 6 months. And if you realize, wait a minute, I'm not meeting the quality I'm looking for, I'm not meeting people financially stable enough, or I want a committed relationship, no one's looking for a committed relationship here, etc.
Mhm.
Those people then should call us. Okay, because we target specifically singles who do not have a felony record, so everyone is safe
Mhm.
to the extent that I can do what I do. Again, I did have a woman sue me once for something that a man who was a policeman and has a permit to carry did 25 years ago as a white collar crime, but yet they've made him a policeman after that. So, and her case was felony check. That what this isn't valid. Well, it is valid. We're not promising anything other than I'm doing a criminal felony background check and no one has hurt women or children. Okay. So we're targeting singles that no criminal record, no felony record, I'm sorry, who are positive. That's huge, 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 because many singles are not positive. They're so negative that it makes me uncomfortable to even look at some of the Facebook posts of singles groups that are out there and hearing what people say. It's like, how do you live in a world of negativity? How do you wake up every morning? I, I couldn't if I lived like that. But anyway, so everyone's positive. Everyone's emotionally stable so they know what they want. Everyone's financially stable. And they want other people to be financially stable too. Then the most important thing I think is everyone wants a committed relationship.
Mhm.
So, having said that, we also, and this is an unspoken thing because it's too subjective, is I like to say we cater the top 20% of singles on Long Island. It's subjective. So, we want everyone to be confident. So our clients, they know they're beautiful, but both inside and out. Not, pretty, but on the inside, ugly. I know guys do not want that. We don't have that. So that's who we target. That if someone thinks, yeah, I consider myself in the top 20% of the best, again, subjective. That's who we have. Now, for the internet, everyone, I believe, if you don't fall into this category, you should be on internet dating sites. And it's a wonderful forum, but keep yourself safe. That's what you should do. So, what are your thoughts? That was my answer, and your thoughts.
Well, I think, it's interesting. If you really stand back and say, how good are we at picking partners and
Mhm.
okay, so how many times do, you know, people go, to the car dealership, for instance, right? They go to the car dealership, for instance, and they want this, this, and this. The car dealership, he said, well, I have 6 kids, but I want a Porsche that's a 2-seater. I mean, you have to sort of take.
Well, every man with a midlife crisis, they do that. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah,
That was a joke.
No. Well, I mean, again, doing what I did, people would come in, with a whole list of things and say, well, I know that I have this cancer and I want these drugs and I want to give it at this rate and I want to give it at this. And the fact of the matter is we always need help, I mean, it just everybody, if everybody can be honest with each other, to just,
Give me 1 second. Keep going now.
if everybody could be honest with each other just a few minutes and say, you know, I know the adage is, well, I gotta keep, well, you have to sort of adjust your approach to things, and what you think is perfect for you might not even be close. And having somebody who doesn't have a dog in the race be able to help you and say, I don't think that's a good match. You know, I mean, how many times have you gone to a restaurant and picked out your food and then got it and didn't really like it, and then someone else said, well, I really wouldn't have recommended that to you. I think that help is never a bad thing. Cooperative help, you know, there always should be a conversation between you and the other person, you know, for whatever you're doing, matchmaking, buying a car, going to a restaurant, you know. I want to go. I mean, I visited Vietnam, and I spent 3 weeks there.
Wow.
And I went all over Indonesia, and I will tell you, from my vantage point, it was ethereal. It was just amazing, and I loved every bit of it. And the people were wonderful. And if I had listened to my brothers and sisters, you know, then I would have never gone. So you need someone who is efficient.
Ditto on everything in my life, by the way.
You need someone.
Any subject, anything.
Yeah, you just need someone who knows. I mean, Maureen knows matchmaking. Okay, that's what she's good at. And
a mom, and that's it. I don't claim to know anything else. I have to get news briefings every morning from you.
Yeah, so you have to
on other things about the past. I call Margaret. I have a whole set of people close to me that if I don't have time to do things, I get that information from them just so I could be in the know. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
She's good at what she does, and she cares about doing the right thing, which is more than half the battle.
Thank you. Okay, so
and she doesn't pay me.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, we have a lot of questions today, so I better put these glasses on. And okay, what advice do you give someone who's nervous about going on a date? Oh, that is really good, because a lot of times singles, and if you're single right now, so crooked, ask yourself, do you get nervous on a date? Because a lot of times people don't want to admit that they're nervous, but you should admit you're nervous if you are, because it kind of covers you if you screw up. Because by being nervous, we do screw up. We do say things that we might not have said. And, you know, before a date, though, you should calm yourself down, put yourself in a relaxing mood, be positive, put out the positive energy, manifest love that this is going to work, and think of 5 things that that person needs to have, not 25, because that's the biggest mistake singles make. They want way too many things. So before you go on the date, if you're in your mind even thinking he or she needs 25 things, of course you're going to be nervous, because no one's ever going to have those things. So make sure that you're being realistic in what you're looking for. And then that makes it easier to manifest the love and that it's going to work. And now it's you. You take a visual of yourself, and none of us are perfect. There's 2 extremes here. Those that are incredibly hard on themselves, such as you. Sorry, I had to say that. He does not take a compliment. Oh my gosh. I'll give you an example later. I'm going to do it after. Give compliment. Okay. some people just can't take the compliments. Or then there's people, the other extreme, that what I call they have a magic mirror, that I want that magic mirror. That if I think, okay, on a great day with hair and makeup, no, I'm too bad. All right, 7. That's my goal, to be a 7 with hair and makeup, everything going well. But if I look in that mirror and I'm adamant that I'm a 10 when I'm not, that's not good. Now, again, subjective, inside and out, a million variables go into this. Okay. The moral of this is don't be too hard on yourself when you're doing that visual, but also be realistic. So you don't want to come across as cocky either, because then you're going to ruin that and you'll never get a second date. So by looking at yourself before the date, you want to stay calm and happy and positive. So you just focus on the good things that you're seeing. And don't be rating yourself then before a date. Never, never. I'm just saying this before you start the dating process. It's a good idea. But before the date, just give yourself a once over. And yeah, if you want to do minor little improvements, then do them. If you want to look at the big picture and say, okay, a month from now, I want to look better in X, Y, and Z, you write that down on your dream board. And then that's it. You go on the date and you be positive. And hopefully that will help you not be so nervous. So what do you think, Dr. Dave?
I think everybody's beautiful. Everybody's wonderful.
Yeah, I do too.
In my world, everybody's a 10, and there's another person out there for you.
Oh, wait. So when you tell me I'm a 10, wait, you tell everyone they're a 10? Oh, forget it.
Well, I mean, I think by us assigning value to things you can't control dooms us for depression, you know?
Yes,
Oh, I'm not a 10. I can't date a 10. And then we create extra barriers to that, you know?
And just remember, I'm saying that in the whole picture, just as a guide to keep people in check.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with it.
Mirror syndrome, you're going to screw up and you're never going to be successful. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. I mean, I think, I don't know. You know, it's easy to say there's someone for everyone out there.
There is. There's a lid for every pot. I've been saying it for almost 25 years.
Right. You can also say that you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you get a prince. But I mean, I think relationships are like flavors, you know.
Birthday cake flavor?
None of them are the same, and they're all a little different, and they're all uniquely wonderful in themselves.
Wow. Very good.
Yeah, I must have taken my philosophical pill today.
And I haven't had Monster this week, but I'm having it today, and oh wow, it feels great. And the reason why I haven't had it this week is because Buster, my dog, hurt my back, and I was put on my doctor put me on a steroid for a week. Now, my first thing I said was, nope, it'll make me gain weight. And the doctor was insistent, no, 6 days, it's not going to make you gain weight, okay? And this was like a 15-minute fight. I lost the fight, and then I asked you, and you said, no, you might be more hungry, which that was really great. That was great that you said that, because I kept it in the back of my mind, because that is what happened. And that is why I did gain weight. But on the steroid, oh my gosh, this whole week, I was working till 3:30 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, getting up at 7. And the thing was, I wasn't even tired. I've had the most efficient week of my life because of the steroids. But yesterday was the 6th day, so I only took the one pill in the morning. That's it. So today, no more steroids for Maureen. But I did gain weight. So what are your thoughts on that?
So steroids are an excellent anti-inflammatory agent. So if
Mhm.
you're having inflammation from whatever, cancer, arthritis, rheumatoid factors, things of that nature, and you're on the steroids, and they do a wonderful job mediating your immune system, things of that nature.
Mhm.
But there are drawbacks to them. One is that they make you ravenously hungry,
Mhm.
and the other thing about them is that they can weaken your muscles over time.
Mm.
So, and there are other not so nice factors about them. Your blood sugars go up and things of that nature. So if you're on them for a long term, you must have some very bad process. Usually
Mhm.
what doctors do is put them on a short course, a week and a half, 10 days, 2 weeks. And then when you come off, they wean you down. So, you're going at Mach 11 with your hair on fire, and
Which was the greatest.
yeah, which is really nice. Yes. And then,
Well, for me, for other people that had to listen to me talking on, like I was on speed. Again, I've never done drugs, so.
yeah. And it's nice to be able to sleep at night. And with steroids, it makes it very difficult. So they have, like anything in this world, used within the confines and the borders in which they need to be used, they're absolutely outstanding and fantastic. And I used bucketfuls of them with my cancer patients. But
But they're different, right, than for other people too. I know the answer because you've told me, but I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, are they the same steroids that athletes are taking?
no. Athletes take anabolic steroids. Their whole issues with anabolic steroids are to build muscle. You can take all the prednisone you want. You ain't getting any bigger. You ain't getting any stronger. You might actually get weaker. Anabolic steroids are a way of building muscle. And again, if I was to take Joe Q Public and inject him with anabolic steroids and say to him, I'll come back and I'll see you in 2 months. He'd be maybe a little bit bigger. He'd probably have some acne. He probably would have some hair loss, but he wouldn't be, a football player. Now, if I injected him with anabolic steroids and told him to get in the gym and work hard like nobody's business 7 days a week, he would be a big dude.
Okay.
So there are different kinds of steroids. There's anabolic steroids and there's kind of regular steroids. So.
Okay, good. All right, another quick, good question. Oh, not that it's quick, but I mean, it's the easy answer for us. What is a deal breaker for each of us in a relationship? But first, I'm going to answer as a matchmaker and a dating coach in that, say you're coming to MTN matchmaking. One of the advantages, and again, this is not meant to be a commercial for it, but there is a benefit that, yes, you get to pick 5 must-haves, but we all should have one deal breaker. A lot of times people say 5 deal breakers, he or she can't do blah, 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 blah. You can't do that. So keep it simple, keep it down to 1. And, whatever that one is, as long as it's not that, you work it out. Because I've noticed that people give up too easily in the dating world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're compatible and you have chemistry, you will have situations. You don't flee. You communicate and you work on them. Now, if you're not compatible, that situation that you notice is a red flag, and you don't go past 3 red flags. Okay, 3 red flags means most likely you're not compatible, because people don't break up because of chemistry. It's usually always compatibility. So that's when you realize, okay, I have to go back to the drawing board and find someone who's compatible. So, having said that, you go first on what's a deal breaker for you, because I have to think of what mine would be. I don't even know.
Well, the obvious deal breaker is cheating, but
Yes. Okay. Yes.
that aside, I'm a huge honesty kind of guy.
Mhm.
Probably too much, but and I wouldn't break up with somebody who they lied to me because, it was, she told me one thing and told, yeah, I mean, there are degrees to all of this, but
Yes.
cheating is
Right. Yes.
cheating is a
And
nonsense.
that's a deal breaker. So again, if you're single out there, just pick one deal breaker. Don't have 5.
Well, if they pick 5, the complexity of trying to negotiate that and find someone with
Yeah.
those without those 5 features,
Right.
you're going to be alone a long time.
Right. Because the reality is, it's very hard to find the right person, no matter who you are. Even if you're a supermodel, even if you're an actor or an actress, look at the divorce rate.
Right.
They're always getting divorced. So,
Right. I also I think of it in terms of meals. I mean, how many times have you gone to a restaurant and didn't really know what you wanted to order? A nice restaurant, I might add,
mhm.
and didn't know what to order and took the recommendation of the waiter and absolutely would not have picked that dish
Right.
and absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people, and I'm certainly guilty of this, you need to get out of your own way, because your preconceived notions block you from true happiness.
Yeah, that's great. And you bring up a very good point, too, that I've noticed lately. The internet has kind of ruined many things. First of all, it ruins relationships. And that, I notice, is the next question we'll be talking about. How does social media impact relationships? It ruins it. But also, too, the internet is filled with negativity. It's filled with the female Karens of the world. And what's the name for guys that are Karen? Do you know? Or does anyone know? Do we even?
Karens. What do you mean Karens?
Oh, that's what it's called. They give the name Karen. I feel bad for all the Karens that have the name Karen, because if you're one of the women that all they do is complain about every single thing, to the waiter, there's a problem every single time. They go to get their nails done, there's a problem every single time. They live for the negativity and the drama. They're called the Karens of the world. Okay. So if anyone else didn't know that, I put that in my social media all the time, referring to the Karens. So I just kind of assume people know it, but maybe they don't. So, okay. So it's a sad thing that the internet has such power over people. And say if a site is filled with Karens and they say, don't do this because of X, Y, and Z, is that really fair? Because are you the type of person that are those Karens. Now, hopefully, you know, you take things with a grain of salt. And like you said, you ask the waiter his or her opinion, because that is a good way to be. But also, too, you know, trying things just because someone else doesn't like it doesn't mean you're not going to like it. I had the best dentist growing up. Everybody hated them. He had the worst reviews. I mean, back then they didn't really do reviews, but just reputation, I guess, as being the worst. But yet he really was the best. So had I listened to other people, I would have never gone to him. So, you know, there has to be some sort of point that you say, I see through that. And I bring that up because guys have been great to MTN matchmaking over the years. Okay. Ladies, of course, everything I do for my ladies. Okay. So it's kind of a balance. Guys, you're always so great to MTN matchmaking, because if we get a woman who's a Karen that complains, like, I didn't take someone on one day.
Mhm.
She was a Karen. She was so negative. Oh my God. And it was a whole buildup of a series of things. And I thought, there's no way I could make her successful. So I'm not going to take her money, which is a good thing. You know, other companies would have taken her money. I'm not taking her money because I don't want to work with her, number one. I know my guys don't want to meet her, and I don't want to deal with it. So didn't take her on. So she writes a review about not being taken on. But the reason I bring it up is because guys have been so wonderful in saying, oh my God, what the heck happened that you're getting all these crazies? And this is what one guy said, crazies talking about nonsense. And it just was really, it made me feel so good because, yeah, I did have a situation with an ex-employee, and that's all I'm going to say. But when people do things like that are so negative and with the intent of really hurting people, it becomes obvious. And luckily, it was obvious to so many guys that said, you know, we're doing it anyway. We saw that. We can tell that must have been an ex-employee, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give it my, you know, I'm going to try it out and see. And I could make all of my clients successful if they're positive, patient, and open-minded. That's it. That's all they have to do.
That's good
They just
advice.
have to win. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. Okay. So this next question is along the same lines about social media and relationships. Now, I can't find it here, but I know that, yeah, here it is. What's your opinion on social media and relationships? Bad news. It causes so much trouble. Oh my gosh.
I think anytime you have levels of interference between you and the person you're interacting with, it leads to a lot of falsehoods and a lot of
That's a good way to put it.
information. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, people are different flavors. Go meet them, see if you like them. I mean, you can go on a date with them and not marry them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you might find that, you know, after, what do they make jokes about it, but it's kind of true. You know, after kissing enough frogs, you usually find a prince. And your prince might not be what you originally had in your head and heart, or hoped in your heart.
I had in my head at a very young age this tall, handsome lifeguard. But go ahead.
Yeah, but he had hair back then. So, you know, from I think the biggest issue to people being happy, I think,
Mhm.
and I'm not a certified matchmaker, so I don't really know what I'm talking about, but they need to get out of their own way.
Yeah.
You know, they might look at the guy and say, oh, he's not that good looking, you know, but you might sit down with him and his heart may overwhelm you about how wonderful things are and
Hmm.
this and that. You may find out he's a jerk, in which case you haven't really lost anything
You
except the
move
dinner.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you might find out, wow, he is the smartest person I know. So, anyway, okay, next question. What do you find sexy in a woman? And then it's my turn. What I find sexy in a man.
What?
Dave, Dr. Dave does not know any of these questions ahead of time.
No, I don't. She does this to me every once in a while. What do I find attractive in a woman?
Sexy.
Sexy in a woman. I find someone's honesty, someone who
Really?
cares. What?
Really? That,
Honesty? Absolutely. I do anyway. I mean, you know, you may stand back and go, he's an absolute idiot, but you asked me the question, I'm going to answer it as best I can. Honesty. I like someone who speaks their mind. I like someone who answers the questions, or if we're having a discussion, the way they would and not the way that they want to and not what I want them to say.
yes.
So
Not
again,
a yes man.
I'm not a yes man. Yeah. I like someone who's light and easy, who's fun, who laughs a lot, who you know, likes to have fun.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now you can beat me up.
No, I think that's interesting. Honesty, sexy. I don't know if we have access to if our clients can comment, but if you can, like for example, if Leah usually watches, or Asa, or Margaret, if you can write a comment, because I'm pretty sure I messed it up, but it would be helpful to know if they're able to see it now or they have to watch it later. Which definitely I am on only the friends tab. So someone has to be my friend to begin with to see this live. But I know from experience, most people don't want to watch it live. They want to watch it later so they don't have to worry that I would call them out and say, oh, hey, so-and-so, oh, you're vacationing in Hawaii, when their boss doesn't know they're on vacation.
I would like to tell you I know what you're talking about, but I am an internet cripple. So
Oh, I mean, I'm sure like Expedia is something easy for you to do, right?
ouch.
Okay. Next question.
Okay.
Oh, what I think is sexy in a man. Okay. Intelligence. Intelligence.
Mhm.
Just one thing. That was the question.
What do I think is sexy?
Yes, well, you answered yours, but you gave
Yeah.
more than one thing. So
Okay.
on my thing, I followed the rules of what the person asked.
Sorry.
Okay, here's a good one.
I haven't followed the rules since I was 5.
Yeah, I'm a rule breaker.
Terrible.
I've been my whole life.
Yeah,
Rule breaker.
I've colored outside the lines my entire life.
Yes, that's right. That's interesting. Okay. How do you feel? And I don't even know this answer. And as a matchmaker, I'm going to say it would depend upon the two people have to feel the same way. As, how do you feel about public displays of affection? PDA.
Yeah, no, I know what P is. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with public displays of affection.
Mhm.
Now, I wouldn't want to see two people sitting on a park bench making out, you know,
Why
and
not?
going overboard.
Okay.
Ridiculous stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's nice to be walking
Yeah.
hand in hand
Yes.
on the streets of New York City and just lean over and give a nice peck or a hug. And I mean, there's a lot to be said for human connection, and kissing. You have more receptors in your lips than you have anywhere else in your body. And I'm not going to answer any more questions about that. But there's some of the most endearing and feeling close to that person.
Yeah. Agree.
My thoughts
Okay.
from an uneducated guy.
What?
From an uneducated guy.
Okay. So, where is this one? How important is physical attraction in a relationship? Okay, I'll go first with this one.
Okay. Ladies first.
A mistake singles make is that they think that's all you need, attraction. If I have chemistry with her or with him, I'm set, nothing else matters. We should get married, have kids, blah, 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 blah. No. The reality is we need two things, compatibility and chemistry. And now when we have both, that's a marriage. Okay, not a physical marriage, but a union, a bond that everyone who's single should be striving for. That's the trifecta of success in a relationship.
Okay.
To have both. Now, chemistry, though, you can tell very easily right from the get-go by someone, because it could just even be the way they smile or the way they move or, simple little things. And you have chemistry with that person. So a person, with the rating system, they don't have to be a 10 many times. Even someone who might be a 10 might find a 2. Like, wow, she's amazing because X, Y, and Z. So it's very personalized, physical attraction, and it's very important. But I just caution everyone, it's not the end all. Okay. You have to be compatible. And the hard part is on the outside world, when we meet someone, we don't know if we're going to be compatible to them. And it takes about 6 months to find out if you're compatible. The reason why a lot of times people notice in 6 months, relationship is over. If you ask people, how long did you go out before you broke up? Many times it's 6 months. And that is because on our dates, our first dates, or when we first meet someone, we share with that person exactly what we're looking for. So say a guy has chemistry with a girl. He's going to be exactly what she just said she's looking for. We're giving it up on the first date, what that answer is. So if someone has chemistry, they can manipulate this relationship, but usually it's for only 6 months. People can't be something they're not, and that's why it comes out. But again, with our program, that's what I focus on, making sure the compatibility is there. And then it's up to the clients to do the chemistry part. So now, what are your thoughts in how important is physical attraction?
I think it's certainly important. I mean, but it's only one set of facts and circumstances that go into a relationship. I was listening to what you were saying, and I just find it so very exhausting trying to be something you're not.
It's, could you imagine? Yeah.
You
But
know,
people do it. I
yeah,
mean, and that's just people that are, say, not narcissistic. If someone's narcissistic, that talk about exhausting, that, I mean, it's just unbelievable the extent of what people will do to find someone, especially if they are narcissistic. It's frightening. But
yeah.
I can spot that in my interview, and I can get the crazy out of anyone in 30 seconds. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, everybody wants, the Barbie doll or, the Playboy bunny or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what everybody starts out, I think, thinking. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. The vast majority of them don't know. And, I taught my sons it's not about what's on the outside. It's about what's on the inside. The outside just contributes to what the real stuff is. And they all have very happy marriages.
It's great. Everyone, they're truly blessed because we as people, we're not meant to be alone. So if you're in the right relationship where you're compatible and have chemistry, you'll notice that person is just a happier person because of that. And that doesn't mean that you're needy, that you need a relationship to be happy. Certainly not saying that, but all things equal, you're going to be happier if you have those things.
Yeah, I used to tell my children, it's better to want it than need it.
Yes. Now, I didn't get a chance to look at Vogue magazine, but Margaret mentioned that Vogue is talking about this month that basically, from the gist of it that I got from her, is successful older ladies, or I guess 50, maybe plus, they don't need men anymore. They make their own money. They do their own things. They have their independence. They have their friends. They go traveling. They have a beautiful home. They don't need a man. Okay. I'm cautioning it based upon that, and the little I got from Margaret is just what you said. And I've always said this. The best thing is never to need something. So if you have the mindset, I don't need a man, but I want a man, then that I'm hoping is in that article saying that, because men nowadays, they know that. Men coming into my program say, on the internet sites, I'm not meeting the types of women that you describe, because women that have it all together, if they do the internet sites, they do it for like a week and they're like, this is horrible. I'm not meeting my equal at all here. I need to raise the bar. And that's what we do here. So I am looking forward to reading that article. So if anyone wants to comment later or whenever you can on that, that would be great. And I'll answer all the questions afterwards. Now, this Thursday, Ruth and I from MTN Matchmaking will be going to Maya Salon in Smithtown, and they have the greatest plastic surgeon that comes in, I think it's every 3 months, and he actually does the Botox himself. I don't really feel comfortable, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of heat from saying this, but I don't feel comfortable with just anyone giving Botox. And that's basically what happens all the time out there. That's kind of risky. So for me, personally, I'm not really afraid of Botox because when I used to go to a neurologist for migraines before he retired, that's how you know when you're getting older, when your doctors are all retiring, because that's what's happening to me. But so with my migraines, the Botox was approved as a preventative for migraines. So I used to get the Botox for free. And that doctor, I won't say who he is, even though he's retired, he was so nice. He, would do extra things for me just because he had the vial. And it was the greatest. So I didn't have to pay for Botox. It did help with the migraines, by the way, but it also gave me a great forehead, which I love. The problem was one day I had told all my friends about this, and 3 months later, when I went back, he's like, look, it's not like I don't like the extra business of 10 new women coming in with migraines, but I know they're coming in for the Botox because you're telling them I'm doing that. So the point is, I would only go, and I go to this salon because he's a doctor, he's a plastic surgeon, and he's the one doing it.
Yeah.
So now, as a doctor, and I've never asked you this question before, but what's your take from a professional standpoint and a personal on a woman getting Botox?
So I do have an opinion.
Really?
Yes, I know that's shocking.
Please.
I know neurologists use it for migraines, and I know if you're going to get Botox, you need to go to a really good plastic surgeon who knows what the hell they're doing. Yeah. I've seen a lot of cases, because I deal with women who've had, sort of tough surgeries and need Botox for this or for that. They get Botox for facial droops and things of that nature, which are really important. But I think it has to be done by a really qualified physician, not just a primary care doctor who's making a little extra dough on the side.
Or some of those spas that do massages now have someone, Susie Q, who's not even a nurse, not even a PA. But I don't know how what do you have to even get certified to do that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know how they buy it. One, and two, maybe they're injecting small dosages or doing little things and charging them big dollars. But it's very dangerous and potentially disfiguring if they do it wrong.
Right.
So,
I remember when I first came home, I told my brother Brian, guess what? My neurologist said that for my migraines, I'm going to have to get Botox. And again, this was, I guess, like 15 years. Wait. No, I guess I was maybe 40, I think. And he did not believe it. He really did not believe that was the case. He thought I was somehow scamming getting Botox for free.
Yeah. No, Botox works extremely well in patients who have migraines. Yeah. And it's a way of regulating that so you don't end up having them, subsequently. But again, I mean, you wouldn't send your children to a guy who's been arrested for child molestation, who's running a daycare. So why go to some backstreet guy or gal who's going to inject you, who has no practice experience whatsoever? Then you have a fool for a patient and a doctor. Something you don't want to do. You're worth much more than that.
Yep. Okay, last question. This is a good one.
Okay.
How do you suggest clients handle rejection in dating? this is huge because even in my service, we have, again, the best of the best singles. But no matter what, we're never going to be everyone's cup of tea. Never.
Sure.
All of us, we are all going to face rejection. And we all know what it feels like. I don't know anyone, I've never met anyone that has not ever been rejected at least once. I mean, it's hard. And it even happens here with us in this controlled environment. Even though I'm doing the compatibility, people are saying yes or no based upon a photo. So I can't stress enough to any of my clients that are watching that I always say, you got to pick yourself up, keep the confidence, keep yourself in check, know the things you need to improve. I know I have to get back to walking, for example. I know I have to get Botox because I'm looking old. All right, kidding about that part, but I really am getting the Botox. So we all know what it feels like. Here, what I say is, it only takes one. And sometimes a success story is the last person. Well, it's always the last person that they've dated.
Yes.
So think about that.
Yeah.
And do you really want, I don't know about this. This is still up for a debate. Do you really want to make this investment and stay for a year and the first person is the one? I mean, because there's good with that, but there's also like, I don't know, what if someone was better? But think of it as the first person you meet at MTN Matchmaking, the odds of them being the one is like getting a hole in one.
Yeah.
So, usually that person ends up a great friend because at the time you joined, that person was the most compatible to you out of everyone that I had. So it's hard dealing with rejection, but we have to have a thicker skin because we have to say, my clients, positive, patient, and open-minded. And we then have to practice what we preach, that I recommend saying yes 90% of the time to people. So a lot of times people feel down because they've been rejected. Maybe the last two people have said no to them. And then it's common that the next person who would be a perfect match for them, the person will say no. And I know the reason, and I ask, sure enough, well, the last two people said no to me. So I'm going to be more selective. I've heard that many times. Now, of course, I fix it. Of course, I say that is ridiculous. Say that out loud to yourself 3 times, and you'll see how ridiculous that is. So everyone should be giving everyone a chance. And when people say no to you, just remember that person wasn't the right one for you. That person could have been the stepping stone to get you at a point in your life that you're even more confident now. And you've even worked on yourself more so that you feel, because you have to feel like, I love myself. If you don't feel right now today, I love myself, don't be dating now looking to find the right one. You have to love yourself first in order to find that person. So hopefully you do those things. And when rejection happens, because it will happen, that person was not meant to be your perfect match.
You know what the odds are getting a hole in one?
No, what?
1 in 12,512.
Oh, actually, then I do have a better record of first time matches, come to think of it.
You're right. I mean, what you said is exactly right. I mean, a mean, how many times do you go into a restaurant and order a meal and get completely disappointed by that meal? Well, you don't just give up going to the restaurant and ordering meals.
Right.
You try something else, and something that you may not have ever thought of because, you have this preconceived notion in your head. And then for some reason you loosen up, all those tight little restrictions you carry
Yeah.
with you, and you try something else and you find, wow, that's really something I like.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You
you're
got
often
out of your own way.
right. But we can't get out of our own way, which is why we need Maureen.
Okay.
And she didn't pay me to say that.
So what a perfect way to end Friday Facebook Live, as I have a million things to do. I have 200 more matches to send out this week
Wow.
to any of my clients. I will get them out no matter what time I have to stay up this weekend. I will get them out. So thanks for your patience, everyone.
My pleasure.
And what?
My pleasure.
Oh, yes. And thank you, Dr. Dave, for your expert opinion and for making me laugh. So, okay, everyone. Happy Friday Facebook Live, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week.